I would like to have a number of hands. How many of you have heard about Healy? Anyone? Anyone? Okay, this is a good number. How many of you are using Healy? Very good. Okay. A couple of days ago, I was speaking with Marcus, and he asked me, why don't you make a short presentation about your traveling and what you have been doing with Healy? Then I told him, why don't you make the presentation? You can show some pictures. And then finally he convinced me to speak and share some of my experiences with Healy. Healy will be in 2 weeks 1 year old. So last year in June, we had our 10th year time waiver anniversary, and it was where Healy was launched. And when Healy was launched, I had a question. And it was, does Healy really work? Not technically, because I knew that technically it works. I was also involved with validations, with the software, with the small app which we have. But is it really as good as time waiver frequency? Is it as good as time waiver home? We don't have hand electrodes here. We have these small, tiny wrist electrodes. Is it really as good as the other one? The other question I had, is it really relevant for me? I'm working since more than 8 years with time waiver, and naturally, wherever I go, I have time waiver devices everywhere. At home, at office, of course, and when I travel, I'm always with somehow or other accompanied with time waiver devices, and I love them, and I love using them. So for me, I was like thinking, I don't know how much I'm going to really personally use Healy. So the journey began when I was last year in October in India, and I started to feel very sick. I was in a place which is called Vrindavan, which I try every year, spend some time there to practice, to spend time for my inner growth, for my spirituality, and do meditations. And I started to feel very sick. And I went for a blood test. And the result was that I've got typhoid. And I had typhoid before, and I knew what is expecting me. If you're wondering what are the typhoid symptoms, these are like that: dizziness, headaches, muscle pain, stomach pain. It means one doesn't have appetite, and if you have appetite, you cannot even digest it. You feel all the time sick. And on top of that, on top of the fever, there are nightly attacks of cough. It means exhaustion, tiredness, heavy head, all at one side, but at night there is no chance to sleep because these cough attacks come and one cannot even breathe properly. One of these nights which I had really hard time, it's really difficult, it really weakens strength, one doesn't have any strength anymore. One of these nights that it was really tough for me, I just thought, let me try I had only Healy with me. I thought, okay, let me try with Healy. I connected myself to Healy, I started a program, I went back to bed, and after some times, I started to feel completely different. What I started first of all was a sense of calmness. All of a sudden, I was not so much agitated. My breath was still short, but at least I could breathe. And what else happened was I started to feel completely out of time and place, as if the time doesn't flow anymore, as if I could perceive myself, I could see myself, I could see that my body is suffering, and I could perceive that. I could perceive my even ego, I could see how everything is connected, and I could see that how much I could perceive the pain I had physically going through. Internally, I had a kind of sense of identity crisis, and in this pain, what I could perceive was that the pain of other living entities, the pain of other humans is like kind of also my pain, that there is no separation between what I'm experiencing and others, and this sense of unity. And after this, I felt that how I'm connected with everyone, which there is a sense of connection unity in a more subtle way. It was a very unusual experience, and I don't know how to express it because it was not something to be expressed or perceived with the senses. And after this experience, I started next morning, I felt much better physically and internally. I completely had a shift of consciousness. In that stage, I could see why I'm going through this pain, why I'm going through this so-called disease. I could see everything, and although I was physically still kind of weak, my consciousness was completely shifted. I was happy for the experience, and everybody, like some of my friends were telling me, you poor thing, you got again typhoid. And I was like, I had a beautiful experience. I don't see it like going through a pain. It became for me going through a life experience. And through this experience, I know that Healy was such a great support because it was physically supporting me and also internally because we have different levels of frequencies. And those frequencies gave me so much strength. It was amazing because I knew when I saw my blood test, I saw that the infection level is higher than the previous time. This is a bacterial infection, and it's Salmonella bacteria, and their aim is to enter the blood circulation and from there attack all the organs, to start with kidneys and gallbladder and heart and spinal cord and brain. So it's very difficult to identify where they are, and they have lots of toxicity. It's a complex kind of disease, and of course I took also antibiotics. I would like also to add this at this stage, but after taking antibiotics there is more toxic release in the body, which makes one feel more weak. So I was so thankful for this experience, and also we have this informational field-based analysis. What does it mean? That the system does an analysis to see which frequency is relevant at the time. You know, these automations that we have, and it was a great relief for me because I didn't have any possibilities for our big devices or therapies or anything, but with the small Healy, I started, of course, use it twice a day, and it was such a great help. And for me, Healy became frequencies for my life. I could really sense and experience this through the pain I went through. During the same time when I was feeling better, I was one evening visiting a friend, and she told me that she is herself a retired medical doctor. She's 62 years old, and she told me that she's suffering from high blood pressure. She's waking up every night in the middle of the night. She has strong pressure in her head. She cannot sleep, and she had different symptoms, and she tried to go do all possible types of tests, and nothing came out. And she, as a retired medical doctor, told me that I need something more subtle. I need something which is more, it's not so gross. Can you do something for me? Can you help? And I had only Healy with me, and I was, yes, why not? Let's give it a try. So what I did first was to do an Healy analyze, did a chakra analysis for her, aura analysis for her, and the entries which came out were indicating some insecurities and fear. And when I asked her, she confirmed that yes, this is true, this is what I'm going through. And then I vibrated the list shortly for her, and then went to the Healy app where we have the frequencies, and chose the kidney meridian program for her because of both kidneys are related to blood pressure and also the emotions which were involved in that. Next early morning, I received a phone call from her, and when I saw her calling me, I was like, oops, why is she calling? And then when I picked the phone, she was extremely happy, and she told me that, you know what, after all this time, I could finally sleep again. And when I woke up in the morning, my blood pressure was much lower. Previously, her blood pressure was around 180 to 100 or 110 every time she would wake up in the morning. And this time, it was still high, but it has drastically became lower. We started to do the treatments for a couple of days, and she started to be more stabilized. And after that, we stopped for 2-3 days. And she called me again and said, can we see us again? Your Healy really is helping me. I need to continue with this. And we started again with the short sessions, and she started again to feel better. It was an interesting and amazing experience to see. And of course, it was very beautiful. And she was telling everyone else that she has a Healy, you need to try it. And yeah, this was an interesting experience. Another story I would like to share with you is that my mom called me towards end of December, and she told me that she wants to go within the next 30 minutes. She has found the car she has been looking for, and she wanted me to do an analysis to see if this is the right time and the right car for her, because she was thinking of 2 cars. And I told her, Mom, we're driving in a car. My laptop ran out of the battery, so I cannot use my time with a mobile. And can you wait a little bit till I arrive somewhere which there is some civilization and electricity? And then she was like, no, I need to know it now, and it's very important for me to have an answer. And while we were driving in a car, Bobak told me that, we have a Healy, why don't you use Healy? And I was like, of course, why I don't use Healy? Then I wrote the question she had exactly, did the analysis for her, and on the same day she went and purchased the car, and the next day she sent me the pictures and asked if I can do some energy clearing for the car. Yeah, in Healy, we have lots of wonderful possibilities and opportunities, and one of them is that we can record the vibrations of the places. Not only places, whatever object which exists. All of you who are familiar with Time with a Med know that we can create our own databases, record the information, and this, of course, we can also record the vibration of the special places. I was going to Egypt around 2 months ago to visit a friend, and I thought, I have to take Healy and record the vibration with this. If you see, Healy is here. And so it was the place I was like, let's give it a try to see how is it. My whole life I've been reading lots of things about pyramids and Egyptian culture, and I was really happy to go there, and also to go to see one of my best friends. And you can see that Healy even made it on top of the pyramids. So what happened there was that we entered the big pyramid, and I will try to play the first video here if it works. This is the entrance of the Great Pyramid of Giza. It's a really interesting place, and when we went up, there are many researchers, lots of scientists did a lot of studies on that, and there are different theories that the Great Pyramid is built on a very strong electromagnetic field. This is one side, that it has a strong electromagnetic field inside it. And from other point, the Egyptians were very much interested for connecting to the different world, to expand the consciousness, and some theories say that building these pyramids, the idea was to make connection to the other worlds and also for helping for expanding the consciousness. I had happily my Healy with me. I created my databases and recorded the vibration, and I asked my friend to record a video from me when I'm like telling, yes, we are here, and recording this, we just did a recording of Healy, with Healy. And what happened was something very unusual. The audio, later on we found out that it has turned to be a bit unusual. I will try to see. Yes, it should work. Let's see if we can.
There is a point right what I'm doing here is that with the help of recording the vibration and the frequency of the very special light, that creates really undescribable
So as you can see, there is a slight something in the video which we were not hearing there, and my friend was practically one step, we were like really close to, because it was dark and because with the flashlight to be able to record. We see that this sound is so strong that it's even stronger than my voice, which is next to that. And it would be interesting to ask some of the scientists who are expert in pyramids to see what they can read out of it. I saw the video only afterwards when we were not there anymore. We have 2 videos, both of them have the same audio pattern. And seeing this, it made me even more eager to, when I go to the different places, start to record the vibrations of different places. And around 4 or 5 weeks ago, I was in Hong Kong. We had our very first Healy workshop there for the group of people who were, most of them, they were not time-waver users. It turned out to be a very interesting workshop. And while we were there, we went to Big Buddha Temple. And as you can see on the left and right, there are the pictures which, from that place. And again, I took the Healy with me and started to create new databases and recording of the vibrations of different places. And after that, when I was back, we were in Greece, in Kos Island. And you can see here, the picture you see in the middle is where we, along with Professor Hartmut Schröder and his good wife, Dr. Marlene Schröder, and Babak, we went to Asklepion. This is a place where is Hippocrates clinic, old ruins is still there. It's more than 2,500 years old. And we eagerly, all of us had our Healys with us. We went with Healys and started to record the vibrations from different places. And it was so much fun. And also, it was really nice to become more aware of what we are doing, and when we are in a certain place to try to align with that information we are receiving. Last week I was doing a short kind of session with a friend, and while the therapy was going on, I let the vibration of Asklepion, which is a healing center, it's said to be the oldest European clinic, let the vibration be vibrated in the room. So I could now vibrate the pyramids vibration right here in the room. Yeah, this is what we have been doing so far, and there are many more good news to come about the Healy, and I'm not going to disclose all of them at this place, but one thing that I would like to share with you is that our next step is to include the Healys in everyone who has Healy for the Global Earth Healing Project. We are thinking about different strategies, how we could make it possible for everyone who has a Healy to be part of this project and contribute, those who would like, to be, when we are doing the vibrations, time-wave vibrations, that they also, everyone who has a Healy, that they can also simultaneously at the same time contribute and do send the list which is prepared for the Global Earth Healing. Yeah, at this stage, I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you.